Welcome again to the Old Principal. I am the Old Principal, and we have another interesting, I think it's interesting. It's part of my story. It's about summer school. Now, this picture is, I put this picture here because you will hear a very interesting part of the story. This is old 墙纸. Okay, they put this paper on the wall, glue it to the wall. Now, what happens if you have a lot of it? You have to take it off. How do you take wallpaper off? Okay, 怎么样拿掉? So we will go into that in just a moment. But before we do, we'll ask Connie to read Summer School 289, Summer School 暑期班, and I will tell you the story. But first, let her read it.
Story 289, Summer School. Although I had 2 master's degrees at that time, according to the laws of Washington State, I was still unqualified to teach high school students. I needed to take more education subjects during the summer between my first 2 years as a teacher. Therefore, during the summer of 1969, I went to summer school. Fortunately, my employers paid all the fees. Summer school is intense. In just a few weeks, teachers and students must cover the same amount of material that would usually be spread over a whole quarter during the regular school year. More than half of the students attending the summer school session were returning teachers like myself. A lot of them were completing master's degrees. Some of them were making up educational inadequacies like me. One of the biggest problems was finding housing because the college was located in a city 3 hours away by car from my home. In our case, we were very lucky. We had some friends who lived less than a mile from the college. They let us live in their home. They were going to be away for the summer, manning a mountaintop fire lookout for the U.S. Forest Service. Even better yet was the deal we struck with them. We could stay there free of charge if we would water the lawns and mow them on a weekly basis. Also, they asked us to remove the old wallpaper from the kitchen wall. Removing the old wallpaper was difficult. One layer wouldn't have been so bad, but there were several layers of old wallpaper to take off. We used a steamer to make the paper moist, and after the old wallpaper was moist enough, we peeled it off. Unfortunately, the weather was very hot, so working with a hot steamer made the job almost unbearable. Also, Connie was pregnant during this time, so she couldn't help me as much as she would have liked to.
Welcome back. Although I had 2 master's degrees at the time, so at that time, this is when I was starting to teach school, I already had 2 graduate school degrees, 2个硕士学位. But there was a problem. The problem is that according to the laws of the state of Washington, 按照华盛顿州的这个法律, I was still unqualified. 我还是不够资格教书. Actually, they let me teach, but they wanted me to do some more studying. Now, I was unqualified to teach high school students. So I need to do some more studying, which will go on. I needed to take some more education subjects. 然后我必须修这个教育课 okay, especially education subjects. During the summer, 在暑假的时候 between my first and my second years as teacher, first and second years as teacher, here I am, and I am going to what? Go back to school and to get some more schooling. Okay, so I've already taught for 1 year going on. Therefore, during the summer of 1969, okay, summer of 1969, I went to summer school. Okay, so 1969年我就参与这个暑期班了。Okay, now this is very interesting because a number of things are happening at that time. In fact, I say that fortunately, 幸亏 my employers, 雇主, that's the people that hired me, they paid all of the fees. 所有的学费等等是他们付的。So that was the good news going on. Summer school is intense with just a few, in just a few weeks. Intense. What does the word intense mean? It means it's difficult. Of course, the courses are on 浓缩的, and so they're very short and usually much more nerve-wracking, 紧张. It's intense. Every minute is important. In just a few weeks, 在几个星期之内, okay, going on, teachers and students must cover the same amount of material that would usually be spread over a whole quarter during the regular school year. 这个老师跟学生呢，他们所学习的内容 material, okay, would usually be spread over 2 or 3 months, right? A whole quarter, 一个学期. But now, that's in a regular school year. What's the regular school year? In America, the regular school year is from October, for university, it's October to June. October to June. This is university. Okay, and there are 2 or 3 semesters during this time. In this case, we were on the quarter system, 所以他们有4季, okay, during the regular school year. But, going on, more than half of the students attending summer school session were returning teachers. Now, can you figure this one out? More than half of the students, 一般以上的学生啊, are actually teachers. Can you imagine that? These are teachers going back to school. They are attending this summer school session. I wrote it this way, returning teachers like me, 像我一样。这些是一半以上是 returning teachers. They're teachers returning to school to 修一些其他的课. So that's me, and that's what I was doing. I was going back to school. Going on. A lot of them were completing master's degrees. Okay? Many of them 要完成他们所需学位, and they do this during the summer. They're going to finish up their master's degrees. Some of them were making up for educational inadequacies like me. Now, educational inadequacies, educational, 这个教育的 what is an inadequacy? Whoa, that's a big word, isn't it? Inadequacy. Okay, just think of it this way. You take off the in and take off the IES and you just say inadequate. And adequate, just adequate by itself, adequate means 足够, okay? So in means 缺乏教育的课程. So an inadequacy is 缺乏教育的课程 or 缺点也可以说，反正是缺的. Going on, one of the biggest problems of going to summer school was finding housing. Yeah, because we don't live there. You think about it. I am a teacher. I live about 60, 70 miles away, maybe 80 miles away, 100多公里之远. So that's how far away I live. Now, and that's my home. So if I go back to school, which is okay, Washington State law, 这个州政府的法律 said I had to go back to school, so I was going back to school, but it was a long ways away. Okay, so now what? I needed to find housing, 住宿. I needed to find a place to live because the college was located 3 hours away by car from my home. 2 or 3 hours, okay? So it's 一段距离. It's not so easy. And it's a small road, so 一个小路. It's not a big road. Going on. In our case, we were very lucky. Well, I'd say yes. Very lucky. And that is that we had some friends. Actually, we had some good friends who lived less than a mile from the college. 他们住家离大学还不到1英里，还不到2公里. So these were good friends. Now, I think that it would have been awkward, 蛮尴尬, to live with them, but they were going to be away from the summer. Okay, so they let us live in their home. So we got to live in their home. And this is where we start to tell about what we did besides studying. Of course, I was studying during this time, but I was also doing something else. Going on. They were going to be away for the summer. So 这个暑假他们不在家. So what were they going to be doing? Okay, they were going to be manning. Okay, to man is 当任. Okay, 当任. That means that they were going to be doing something. They were going to be manning a mountain top 山顶上 look out. What is a look out? 火景观 In other words, how do you say that? They were on top of a mountain in a little house, and they were looking for fires. Why? Because during the summer, it is very, very hot. And sometimes they have fires, 山火. So they have people living on tops of mountains, and they are manning a mountaintop 山顶上的一个 fire lookout 火警官 for the United States Forest Service 为政府工作这个美国林务局 maybe you say 林业局 okay, whatever. This is the Forest Service. The Forest Service controls all of the forest. 这个森林树林都是他们管的. So they're on top of the mountain. They're not going to be home, so we get to stay in their home. Okay, even better yet was the deal. Okay, better yet was the deal. Okay, we had 我们达成的这个协议，达成的协议 the deal， 达成的这个协议是更加好的 because I didn't have a lot of money. I had a home back at the school a long ways away, so we struck a deal, 达成一个协议 okay, with them going on. We could stay there for free of charge. Free of charge. 我们住他们的家是免费，不要钱 free of charge. If, here is the condition, if we would water the lawns, 他们的草坪 lawn, 我们就给他们这个浇水 okay, 浇水 and mow them on a weekly basis. Yeah, mow. To mow means to 推草. Have you ever mowed a lawn? When I was young, they didn't have motors on mowers. 这个推草机没有，反正是没有推草机 or if they were there 有一点笨蛋 we often had a mechanical one that we would push. Okay, so if we would 如果我们愿意住那边呢，我们必须 water the lawns 浇水 and mow them 这个每一个星期也推草 so this is the part of the 协议我们所达成的协议 going on. Also, they ask us to remove yes, here we come to the wallpaper. They asked us to remove the old wallpaper from the kitchen wall. 他们就要求我们从这个厨房的墙壁上把那些旧的墙纸拿掉. Now that, my friend, is not as easily done as said. 说的简单，做的不是很简单。Not as easily done as said. Okay, going on. removing the old wallpaper was difficult. It was hard. Actually, if we just remove one layer, that would not have been so bad. 能够拿掉或撕掉，一层还好， not so bad, okay? But there were several layers of old wallpaper to take off. 我不晓得是多少层啊，反正几层的这个墙纸，老墙纸，旧的墙纸 and we have to take it all off. And that was not hard. Now I will tell you the process that we used to do it, and you can see that it was not an easy process. Going on. We used a steamer. A steamer 这个会喷这个蒸汽 steam. Okay, 会喷这个蒸汽 to make the wallpaper moist. 使那个 wallpaper 湿湿的 okay? If it's moist, then moist meaning remember moisture, okay? Okay, this is make it wet, okay? We make it wet, and after the wallpaper was moist or wet enough, we 撕掉, we peeled it off. If it got wet enough, okay? Going on. Unfortunately, the weather was very hot. This was summer. Summer in that part of America is extremely hot. It's quite dry, but it's also very hot. And so, remember, we're working with a steamer. So that is hot. Okay? So working with a hot steamer made the job almost unbearable. Almost unbearable. 几乎是受不了的 unbearable 没办法承担的 unbearable. It was too difficult. Here we're using this hot steamer and we're working on the walls and we're up there working on the walls and then you get the steamer and you just leave it there. You just like that. And it's getting wetter. Finally, you can take it down and you can peel that off. And then you have to do another section. It's so hot. The temperature was so hot. It was almost 几乎这个受不了的没办法做到的事 I can tell you that when the weather is hot like that, you drink lots of water, right? Of course, you drink lots and lots of water. Going on. Also, Connie was 怀孕. And during this time, she was pregnant, and she couldn't help me as much as she would have liked to. 本来她想要帮助我，但是她没办法，因为太不舒服。 First of all, I think during the time of pregnancy, especially heat, is very, very difficult to tolerate, 很难受. So, and this was especially hot. So I don't think that this was so easy for her. So I told her, you sit on the side and watch me, and I will do the work. Yeah, I'm not so sure that she felt happy. She wanted to work, but she knew that it was very impossible for her to do. Now, I must say that we sometimes say it was like a 3-ring circus. 好像马戏团一样. So we got so many things happening. All these things, different things happening. And I was going to school. And we were doing all of this. So this was a very difficult time. But at least, 至少省了一些钱. Because I didn't have to pay the tuition. I also didn't have to do what? I didn't have to pay the rent for the house. We just take care of the lawns, watering, mowing, 推草, mowing the lawns, and then, of course, taking the wallpaper off. So by the end of the summer, everything was done. They returned, and we were happy, and they were happy. So that's the end of the story. You can write an email to us. Have you ever gone to summer school? Tell me about your summer school experience. theoldprinciple@gmail.com, and our website is www.theoldprinciple.org. With that, I'll have to say goodbye, but I will be back for another lesson. So bring a friend, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.